Hello everyone, and welcome to my corner of the world, and welcome to my live. This is Sunday, January the 15th, and today I'm going to be looking at using one design of card but creating it for two different occasions. So I'm using a couple of bundles from the new mini catalogue. This has been out for what, 10-11 days now. So this is our new catalogue, and the two bundles I've chosen to use are the Petal Park and the Country Bouquet, and they're both punch bundles. I must admit that things like punches and ribbons and decorative papers and embellishments are the ones that I tend to look at first in the catalogue. So if anybody's out there watching me, if you would just put in the chat, let me know that you're out there, maybe let me know where you're from. So don't be shy. So my thought was to use one sort of card layout. Now, I recognize that not everybody is into Valentine, and so basically this is a sort of Valentine, mainly a Valentine themed bundle. It's got the hearts and all sorts, but it has also got a couple of greetings that could really be for any occasion. So this one says, just wanted to say, and then you could say I love you, or there's one that just says for you. So that is a nice set. And then the other one is more of a general one, and floral. Those of you who know me know I love my florals, and so I chose these two sets to kind of build up my card idea. And I also chose some colours rather than sort of sat here scratching my head thinking what colours to choose. And I started by using the Country Gingham decorative paper, or designer series paper, or DSP, whatever you like to call it, but it's basically two-sided decorative paper. So this has got 4 colours in it. It's got Sweet Sorbet, Petal Pink, and then when you flip over it's got the Balmy Blue and the Mint Macaron. So I chose to use this particular paper, this pink, and I then thought, okay, what colours am I going to take with that? And I decided that I would use the Sweet Sorbet. So I've got my pieces, I cut my pieces. So this is how this is my layout. It's kind of going to go like that, and then there's my inside piece there. Okay, so we're going to start working on the Valentine's version. It's what, a month till Valentine's, and I know it's not a huge thing in my home country of the UK, but here in the States, where I've lived for the last 21 years, it is popular, and children take little treats for their friends to school with a Valentine's theme. So we'll pop the Petal Park to one side, and we'll work with the Country Bouquet. Now this stamp set, I've used it quite a lot, and one of the things I like is that one of the stamps actually has the two hearts that are joined, and when you line it up with the punch, it matches. So you can stamp both parts and you can punch them out together. Now the other cute or neat thing about this is that it's got some leaves. And again, there's 2 leaves on the same stamp. And again, when you stamp that on a piece of paper and go to put it in your punch, it will match exactly. So you can punch 2 leaves out at a time. So I will show you that in a bit more detail. Okay, so we're going to make a start on our first card. Now I thought it would be good to do a little bit of a technique. You may have come across it before. It's called tone on tone stamping. And basically, I don't know if I've any quilters out there. Anybody out join me today is into quilting? But it's where you use the same colour ink on as your card, and with quilters usually you find that the pattern on the printed on the fabric is in the same colour as the actual base fabric. So one of the little stamps, where's my stamp set in the set, is this little floral one here, and I thought I would use that to randomly stamp on my piece of card. And I want to make sure I leave some room at the bottom here, so that I've got room for my greeting. And you can see I'm kind of stamping off the sides a little bit so that it's you know, I don't know, it just adds something to it. And then before I go any further, I'm going to put my greeting in. And I am going to make this a full-blown Valentine card. And so I've got the Happy Valentine's Day loaded on my block. And I'm just going to gently put some ink on there, and then I'm going to pop it down in this corner. I find it easier to stamp sort of to one side. Oh wow, I've managed to get a halo on there. Oh well, we'll just have to flip it over and start again. Now I got that halo because I rocked my stamp on the ink pad. It happens to all of us, but we can always get another piece of card or flip it this over. So this time I'm just going to make sure that I get it right and I don't get ink over and everything. And so I've got ink here, so I am just going to wipe that off. I've got a little piece of paper up here to do that. And then I'm going to go ahead and line that up. And because this is a photopolymer stamp, it's see-through, it's real easy to see that I've kind of got it level there. All right. Okay. All right, so anybody out there want to let me know where you're from? I really appreciate some company here. All right, so now I've got my greeting down. I know where I need to put some stamping. So I'm going to pop this here. So that's one of my layers, and I just want to see if I've got an empty space, which I do. So there, I've filled that one up. And while I've got this ink going, I'm going to do my inside piece. This is the bit that you write your "To You, Love from Me" on. And this ink, this is the Petal Pink, and the other piece I did in the Sweet Sorbet. Okay, now then, let's go. And so those are the bits that's easy to do. So let me do a little bit of assembly and then we know where we're going to go from there. Hi Johnny! Hello Sue! It's good for you both to be with me today. If you missed the beginning, I thought of one layout for a card, and I'm going to make it into two different themes, because not everybody's into Valentine's, but also just to say that, well, okay, Valentine's comes once a year, but we have lots of birthdays, so you always use this design again and again. Right, so I've got my base card, and I'm gonna pop that, attach that down. So there's my liner, my To You Love From Me part. And then I'm going to attach my front piece, and I'm going to attach this flat because I'll probably end up using my dimensionals to put my little panel. In fact, I think I'll probably do that now. So this is my basic design, and so you can see that, you know, you could change out the colors. You could use a totally different piece of decorative paper. And you can still use this layout. So my piece of decorative paper is 2x3. As I showed you, it comes in a 6x6 piece. And so when I do 2x3, it means I can get 6 pieces out of a piece of paper. So that will go a long way. And I'm just going to pop that up, making sure it's as level as I can. And then that's my starting point. What do you think of it so far? All right, so now we're going to do some embellishments. So I've got some scraps of basic white cardstock, and I'm going to start by stamping with this stamp. Now, to make things easy to stamp out, when I look at the punch, my card is going to go in this way. And so I want to make sure, to make my punching easy and I don't waste cardstock, I need to make sure that I stamp that little one toward the top. So we're going to go with the sorbet, sweet sorbet, and just let that ink transfer for a few moments. Now this stamp set is what they call distinctive, and so it's got like different shades. So you may look at it and think, I'm missing out stuff, or this is too dark. It's supposed to be like that. That is what we're aiming for. And then we have another stamp, and this time it's because it's going to be stamped like that. I'm going to stamp it what appears to be upside down. And this will make it a lot easier again for me to punch out. So just lay it down on my paper. All right. So then with my punch, we're going to pop that in, as I said, from there. and I'm gonna just line up. Now with these punches, they've kind of got like a two-step action. If you get it lined up and just gently squeeze, it will actually lock it into place, your paper into place. And I'm just going to give it a squeeze, and then there's my two pieces. Now I'm just going to trim these pieces off here, and I can go and pop this one in. And so this stamp will cut out using the same punch. Right. So I love punches, as I said earlier. They're one of my favorites because they're so easy to use. Now I'm going to use my little panel to layer things up. Let's see. So we've got this cute little heart here. I'm thinking that that might be a good layout. Right, now I need a bit of something in the middle there. So I'm going to use this little heart stamp. It's kind of an open heart, got two little hearts, and I'm going to use green. And I think this is Granny Apple Green. Let me check. Yes, it is. So that kind of fills a little gap. And now I want to show you how to do the leaves. Right, so this time I've got a strip of card, and I'm going to stamp it a long ways like this. And I'm going to do two at a time. As I said, the stamp is joined together. And I'm going to do like that. Give it a moment or two for that to settle. And then with my stamp, my stamped images and my punch, I can go and actually punch those out together because they are perfectly placed. And by using a strip of paper like this, I'm not wasting cardstock. So punch those out. And now we've got some leaves. So I don't know why you would put leaves on a heart, but I wanted to show you how the punch worked and how the hearts and everything came together. So it just seemed sensible to cut a few leaves. Now I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this one flat and pop these two up and see where I come from there. So I'm going to get my liquid and let me see. I think I'm going to have it just hanging over a little bit there. And with any luck, if I lay this one there, I've got a little bit hanging over there, which I do. So I'm going to pop a couple of dimensionals. Right, so we've got some bit overcast weather here in North Texas. I'm hoping that it will cool down a little bit because we have had temperatures in the low 80s, which is like the high 20s for those who are on centigrade. And it's only the middle of January, and I'd like a little bit of winter before we head into summer again, I think. Okay. So what do you think? I think they could perhaps just go in there. poked out like that. I think I need to have them now that I've put a green heart in there, because I think the green would look a bit lonely without those leaves in there. Any thoughts? You are allowed to say something in the chat box. Let me know your thoughts. Okay, so I'm going to pop a little bit of adhesive, and I'm just going to tuck them underneath that top heart. And I guess it can look a little bit like a flower. It's a tiny little splodge of adhesive, like that. Okay, and because it's me, and I do love my bling, I pulled out these heart-shaped pearls, and they are really pretty. You can see that I've used them quite a lot. So there's sort of large and small, and then there's some sort of pearly, sheeny ones, but there's also some frosted ones as well, which is unusual. So I think I'm going to use one of the large frosted ones, and then maybe a small pearly one. Okay. Right, so I have a Valentine's card. Oh, thank you, Sue. Yeah, I think the green kind of gives it a little bit of a lift. I agree with you. All right, so that's our first card using our layout, and we'll make a start on the second one. So I'm using exactly the same supplies, exactly. So I've got my layers here, and my liner, my envelope, and my base. So those are my layers, and I'm going to get this bit stuck down straight away. So again, I'm just going to quickly assemble as we have already seen how it works. So there's that piece, and I'm going to do exactly the same tone on tone stamping. And with this stamp set, we have these little flowers. So I'm able to do exactly the same thing again. I'm going to pull my stamps up to the front. So here's my little flower. Oh, we're going to do our tone on tone, except I've put my, there it is. I'm going to put my piece of paper down so I don't make my workbench messy and pick up ink. So again, just quickly doing my tone on tone, and I think I've done a boo-boo again. This time I'm going to make it a birthday. Now, this particular stamp set doesn't have any greetings, but my favourite go-to greeting stamp set has a lot of choice, and I'm going to make this, take one of the birthday ones, and I'm going to do my normal trick of stamping across the corner. And because this takes up a little bit more room than my Valentine greeting, that's why I'm going to stamp it first. That's better. I'm happy now. Now we can go ahead and do some tone on tone. So this is a really useful technique if you don't have any sort of decorative paper and you wanted to give it a little bit of interest. Okay, let's see where this bit goes. Oh, I don't think I've got enough on there. I'm going to put a little bit there. All right, so that was easy. That's got that bit done. So again, I've got my card base, as I said, exactly the same colour. We're going to stick this piece down. Like that. All right, and then this piece, we're going to stick that on there straight away. So we've got exactly the same starting base as before. And then we can build up our decorative pieces on top using the different stamp set. Just make sure we get that in the right place. Now I haven't stamped my liner or my envelope, but I'll do that exactly the same as I did for the other one. And I would stick that in there. Now we've got our decoration. Now this stamp set has a two-step stamping set. So you can stamp some leaves in one colour, maybe a darker green, and stamp over with a lighter green to fill. This again, you can stamp your outline and then your filler, and this is the same for this Tinsy Wincy one that I showed you a few moments ago. And there's even some little tiny little leaves there that you can do the outlines and then you can do the fillers. But instead of doing two-step stamping, I am just going to stamp them separately onto a piece of card. Now, when I was telling you about the heart-shaped stamp set with the punch, I was showing you about how to orientate your stamp on your piece of cardstock so that it stamps in line with your punch. So if you turn your punch over, this is the end that the card is going to go in. So we want to stamp these so that that little flower is to the top. And I'm going to stamp these in the Sweet Sorbet. Onto my cardstock. So there's sort of the outline, the open flower. And then I've got my other one, which is the sort of filled in, closed off flower. And so then when I line up my punch, I'm just going to rotate it slightly just to make sure that everything's lined up. So I've given it one little squeeze to hold it in place, and then I'm going to cut and just repeat with those. Okay, it should fit. Sometimes you find you have to kind of rotate it slightly just to get it lined up. There we go. So that's that. This stamp set also has a few leaves as well. And the punch also cuts out leaves. So we're going to do some leaves. And I'm going to go back to this piece, and I'm getting out the Granny Apple Green again. So all the same colours. Now I'm gonna have to pop that in, so that's how I need to stamp my leaves. So I've got to put them at an angle. So one, I'm going to do, oh, I don't like that one. I'm going to tap that one, that's better, and two of those, and then I'm going to do two of the other style, one and two. So I think this would normally be like a filler, but again, as with the others, I want to use them as separate. So I'm going to trim off that one I didn't like, and then pop that in my punch. One. And can you see, if you line, if you are aware where your where the punch piece is, you can easily stamp in the right direction, and then it's easy to punch out. There. All right, so how am I doing so far? Are you still with me out there? Give me a little thumbs up maybe, just to let me know you're there. Right, so we have 6 flowers and 4 leaves, and some adhesive on my nail that keeps on picking up those leaves. Only, I think my leaves have flown away after I was careful. Never mind. I have a little technique now to show you how to cup your flowers. I did show this the other day when we made the little desktop calendars. So I use my pick your tool with the cap on a piece of sponge, and I'm just going to cup each of those flowers just to give them, I like to call it, a bit of life. Like that. And I'm going to have, like, I'm going to put the big ones top and bottom, I think. And then we've got medium, medium. I'm not into flower arranging, so. And then when I can find the other leaves, oh, there's one there. Oh, and the other one is there as well. So I'm thinking I could just sort of tuck the leaves around a little bit, so that, again, I love the idea of them sort of just hanging off the ends. Oh, good. You're there. Okay. Ooh. Now, I could use liquid glue to stick my flowers down, but to be honest with you, it would take too long for it to dry, and I want to get it finished while we're still on the live. So I think I'm just going to use some glue dots for now. You can use this little bit as well to press that in, so that you know that your flower is well and truly stuck down. Okay, so let's give those a good old push down. And for my tiny ones, I'm going to pop them up on a mini. And I'm just going to overlap a little bit. maybe I could get Kath to give me some flower arranging lessons soon. Maybe that way I'd be able to be a little bit more artistic in my flowers. Right. So just tucking those behind, and I want to try and have, maybe I'll put one over here. Okay, well, we're very nearly at the finish of this card. So now it's decision time. Because obviously we don't want to have any Valentine theme on this, the flowers need a middle. And I've got pearls and I've got rhinestones. Anybody wish to make a vote on what I should use? Give you a couple of minutes. So just to remind you that we have been using these two bundles, the Country Bouquet and the Petal Park here, and we've done a little technique called tone on tone and tone on tone stamping, and that we have ended up with a card that, or a card layout that gives us lots of different options. So I'm going to go this time for the rhinestones. I like the extra little bit of bling, but it could just as easily work with the pearls. And there we have it. Oh, hello Christine. Thank you for joining me. Now, where are you from? Oh, lovely. Yeah, okay, so rhinestones it is. Okay, well, that's what I had to share with you today. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's given you the opportunity that, you know, if you have a card layout that you like and you choose your colours, and that we can make two different themes using two different types, different stamp sets and punches. And I've also shared with you some of the features of these stamp sets and how to line your stamps up with them and everything like that. Well, I truly appreciate you joining me today. If you, Connecticut. Well, I hope the weather is being kind to you over there. So if you have enjoyed my live today, perhaps you'll go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If you don't already subscribe to my channel, please go ahead and do that. And then if you have any comments, I'd love to read your comments as well. Well, I will be back next week with another live, and I'll look forward to seeing you then. Thank you very much for joining me today. Bye for now.